Hi, in this video I have a 3-bag sand filter and I'm going to demonstrate how to reuse the sand. Now I do recommend some gloves, a screwdriver to open the lid over here. Tape is helpful to block the screw holes so that sand doesn't get in there. If you have a blower, it's also helpful to remove any of the sand on the top here, or a hose pipe. Right, so the purpose of this video is to open this up and to reuse this sand. Obviously, if your sand is in very poor condition, you would then need to replace it. Sand needs to be replaced periodically, and that really depends on how much sediment, dirt and dust is in your pool. So it's very hard to say you must change it every 6 months or every year. So the first step is to open up and inspect the sand. Now in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to reuse the sand. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the lid here. If you are going to be using an electric screwdriver, be very careful with these screws. I don't want to be too vigorous because the fitting can be damaged quite easily. Now this is also a good time to change your O-ring if need be. Now what often happens with these filters is a concentration of dirt falls at the sides here. Now just inspecting inside, there on the edges, that is what I'm referring to. A lot of sediment and dirt forms on the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fish that out with my hands. Now I recommend using gloves because part of this video I'm going to show that one has to massage the sand. You can get little cuts on your hand. Right, just to remove the top layer of dirt, as you can see, I'm just grabbing that dirt and I'm chucking it away. It's not a lot of sand that I'm chucking away. And then I'm scooping the sand towards the edges. And there you can see, look at all that dirt that has come together. It looks like there's hair and things like that. So I'm removing the very dirty bits. Now you may notice that as I take the sand out, some may fall over here. Now to stop sand from getting in these screw holes, you can put the screws here to stop sand from getting in there. The other option is to use some tape and tape up the screw holes. Now because I've got my blower here, I will blow out any sand that gets in these holes. So I'm not worried about any sand getting in those holes. One can also use a hose pipe to squirt in there and get sand out. And last resort, if need be, you can take a screwdriver and just remove any sand that falls in these holes. So what I'm doing now is I'm just scooping the top layer of dirt. And I'm just throwing it away. Right, now that I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually massage the sand. We'll find that the sand goes into clumps. So I'm actually taking my hand and I'm starting on one side and I'm burying my hand far in there and I'm actually massaging deeply into the filter. Right, now it's time to return the cap and I need to make sure there is no sand here. I can use a hose pipe. And you can use the hose pipe to clean inside the screw holes to get rid of any sand. A blower is also very useful. So just make sure there's no sand in those holes. Inspect your seal, make sure there's no sediment on the top here. Rinse your screws. I rinse the screws to make sure there's no sand in the threads of the screws. Otherwise, the sand may increase the resistance, which may damage one of the screw holders. Now tighten one side until it gets a little bit tight and then go opposite. Notice I'm just tightening with my fingertips. I'm not tightening with a double grip. It's just my fingertips because these screws do not have to be very tight. Now once it's a little bit tight, I'll just keep going opposite and do a turn or two. And once they're all quite tight, I just go around making sure they are all the same tightness. At this stage, I don't recommend using an electric driver. Better to do it by hand. I now go to the weir and unplug the pool sweeper. And if your basket is full of leaves, it's a good time to clean it out. Now we want to get as much suction in as possible. Now over here, I'm choosing backwash. And shortly you'll see the water coming out of the outflow pipe. And there's an indication of how dirty the sand is. You can see how brown it is, which it will clean while it does the backwash. I'll now leave it to backwash for about 1.5 minutes or at least until the watercolor goes clear. Right, now I open it up again. And straight after the backwash, it leaves a layer of dirt on the top here. If there's quite a lot of dirt, you can scoop it up with your hand. But in this case, there's not a lot of dirt. All I'm going to be doing is the massaging again. I can find bits of dirt on the sides. I am going to be just removing that. And now I'm going to do the massaging again. So I start on one side and completely turn the sand. You'll find that some sand is almost stuck together in clumps. So I start on one side and turn the sand around. So what I'm doing is I'm going like this and scooping it in my hand, massaging it and mixing. Start on the one side and move all the way through. Right, just having a look inside, one can see that there's quite a lot of sediment, but the sand is actually in good condition. And remember, I did not do a rinse after the backwash. So a lot of that sediment gets caught on the top. Right, now it's time to return the cap. So just make sure there's no sand in those holes. Right, now I keep it on the backwash and run a backwash again. Now because my sand is not in very bad condition, I've just done it twice. One can do this up to 3 times. If you find your sand is in very poor condition, it's recommended to rather just change the sand. After the backwash, do your rinse, put your pool sweeper back in and continue your pool operation as normal. Thanks for watching and cheers.